Hello everyone and welcome back to the High Council. Today we have got the next databank download looking at Mother Talzin and the Nightsister Acolytes for Star Wars Shatterpoint. Before we get into it, do check out the other Shatterpoint content that's on the channel. If you do like it, please leave some comments, let me know your thoughts and subscribe. We'll be bringing as much Shatterpoint content as we can do over the coming weeks and months. And we've got our first battle reports scheduled for this coming Friday, so hopefully we'll have out across the weekend. But this is what we're here for. So it's a Monday, so we've got our next databank download. So we're looking at Mother Talzin here and the Nightsister Acolyte. So very excited to see this. Very excited. We've got the picture you can see here of Mother Talzin and then the two Nightsisters. And so my only concern about this one with the bow here is this does not look particularly stable for the model to be hanging on. Otherwise, other than that, it's very cool. Very much like the look of them. I think Mother Talzin with the like the green glowing smoke, and the Nightsisters with that feel very much like we see from Star Wars: The Clone Wars. And I am very excited to get these on the table because they'll have some great synergy with Asajj Ventress. So referred to reverently within her clan as the Great Mother, Talzin is a major player on the stage of the galactic conflict. Obviously, she is responsible for the production of Savage Oppress, which is the secondary unit that comes in this box, and we haven't seen that one yet. So we're just looking at Talzin and the Acolytes today, so we might see him next week. But we've got her abilities here, so if we have a look at her unit card. So she's going to bring 8 squad points to the table, 3 force, and then Mother Talzin, the primary unit. She is a Dathomirian force user and Nightsister. So interestingly, she's got that force user tag. She's got a stamina of 10 and then a durability of 3. And then she has got a tactics ability, 1 active ability, a reactive ability, and then an identity ability as well. So her tactic ability is obscuring shadows. At the start of this unit's activation, choose another allied Dathomirian unit. 1 character in the chosen unit may dash, which is very nice. Nothing too crazy compared to some of the things that we've seen in other characters' tactics abilities. This active ability is very, very cool. So 2 force, manipulating hand. Choose an enemy character within range 4. The chosen character dashes, and you resolve the move. So very nice for moving an opponent off an objective to flip it over to you, or even just potentially pushing someone out of being engaged into a ranged attack, or just completely getting them off of another level. You're going to drop them down a couple of levels and elevations. I think we can see some really great uses for that there. Her reactive ability, Life Drain. After an allied Dathomirian character makes an attack, if the defender suffered 1 or more damage, this unit may use this ability. That allied Dathomirian character may heal 1. So that's awesome. I think if you have a Dathomirian, the chances are you're going to be doing an attack, and the chances are you're going to be dealing at least 1 damage. I think it's very rare that you walk away without having done at least one damage of some sort, and that is just going to give you that free recover action. So either a damage off yourself or a condition off, which is very, very, very nice. And then her identity ability, once per turn, when an enemy character wounds another allied unit, so when your opponent wounds you, after the effect is resolved, 1 character in this unit may dash, then make a 5 dice ranged attack targeting the enemy character. So we'll have a look at her combat tree, but that's also quite cool. So you take a wound, and she's kind of gonna either move over towards them to get that range attack out, or just getting a free 5 dice range attack off is very nice, as we'll see from her combat tree. But back to here, nothing else about here, and then we get her combat tree, which is this one. So she's got 2, obviously, as a primary. The one on the left here, this is Great Mother. So we've got ranged 4, a ranged attack, 7 attack dice, 7 defense dice as well, which is very, very high. 6 then in engaged, and 5 defensively from an engaged. And we'll look at her. She's got magics as her expertise. So 1 to 2, becoming a crit and a hit. 3 becoming a crit and 2 hits. And 4 plus becoming 2 crits and 2 hits. So this is definitely the range attack side you see, comparing the expertise of the two. But her Conjured Blade on the Great Mother side for expertise, 1 to 2 is becoming 1 hit and damage. 3 becomes a crit, hit and damage. And 4 plus becomes a crit, 2 hits and a damage as well. And then defensively, Mystic Defenses, so this is the same for both sides. 1 to 2 becomes 1 block. 3 becomes 2 blocks and then turn a crit to a hit. And 4 plus becomes 2 blocks, a crit to a hit, and then a hit to a failure, which is very nice there as well. And then we look at her combat tree on this left-hand side here. The first thing I think I notice about it is there's a lot of icons to see, and a lot of double damages. So we've got over 4 double damages in total. But we are starting off with 2 damage and a shove. So very nice, nice sort of start off there, to get a little range 1 move for both yourself and then to push off an enemy. We can either then come down to the bottom for 1 damage and then an additional shove, or we can continue along the sort of middle path for 2 damage and the exposed condition. And then if we have gone along this bottom path here, we then have to come back into the middle for 2 damage. And if we go along this second, the middle path here, the 2 damage and the exposed, we can then either go straight ahead for the 2 damage or up to the top for the damage and the pinned as well. And then we come into the middle for a damage and a shove, and then we get a choice at the very end of either 3 damage or a damage and a reposition. So very nice on here. I think it's 5 long. So there's a strong possibility that you could get all the way to the end here. And if you're getting all the way to the end, you're potentially doing a maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 damage. 10 damage with 2 shoves and an exposed, which is very nice. Or you can take a little bit more of a... We're going to do some shoves route and a reposition. Not put out as much damage, but the ability to do 10 in 1 hit is going to take give most primaries a wound in there in 1 hit, which could be incredibly powerful. We flip her over to what is definitely then her more engaged side, in my opinion. You can see her magic's expertise significantly different from this side. So 1 to 2 is just going to give you 1 hit. 3 is a crit and a hit, and then 4 plus is a crit and 2 hits. So that 3 and 4 plus is what you get for the 1, 2, and 3 on her Great Mother side. But this is where she starts to shine. So a Conjured Blade, 1 to 2 expertise, crit and damage. 3 becomes 2 crits and damage, and 4 plus becomes 2 crits, a hit, and damage. And just remember, if you're using that Conjured Blade, they are suffering damage. Link that into her life drain. She is then going to be recovering from her as well. So that is awesome. Her Mystic Defenses are the exact same on both sides. And then we get her combat tree here. So, got a choice to make right at the beginning. You can start at the top with 2 damage, or the bottom for the 1 damage and then the disarmed ability, before coming into the middle for 2 damage and then that heal, followed by an action, so a free action, which for Mother Talzin, it's this one. There's only 1 action we're going to be doing, and it's this manipulating hand ability. But instead of paying 2 force, you get that for free. You get to dash an enemy character within 4. That is, yeah, I think that's going to become so good as the game develops, because you can, you've then got to force your opponent to potentially either spend something like a force to do a jump action on a Jedi, or another character to move back into range, before they can then do their 2 actions, or you're then forcing them to use one of their 2 actions to potentially move back to where they want to be. And then we get our choices again here. We can go up to the top for 2 damage and a recover, or down to the bottom and 2 damage and a strained, followed by a damage and an exposed. So only 5 again. So it's 5 and 5 on both sides for total length of combat tree. And then this side, you're going to put a maximum of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So maximum of 7 damage plus a couple of conditions. But this side you can definitely get a lot more heals off, because you could take this entire top route here and do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You know, if you only get to stage 4, you're doing 6 damage with a free action, and then 1, 2, and 3 heals from life drain as well, which is going to be very nice. I think that'll be super powerful. I really like the look of Mother Talzin. She is going to be awesome, I think. And then we have a look at the Nightsister Acolytes. So they are a here we go, 4 points cost supporting unit with 2 models in that unit in total. Now coming with a active ability, a reactive ability, and then 2 innate abilities. And they have got the Dathomirian, Nightsister, and Trooper tags with 7 stamina, 2 durability. I think this is what I thought was quite interesting about Mother Talzin, is Mother Talzin doesn't. Mother Talzin does. I didn't think she did have a Nightsister. Maybe I'll edit that out, because that makes me look like I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, they do have the Dathomir and Nightsister each. But if we talk about their abilities, so they've got 1 active ability here, costing 1 force, acrobatic advance. Each character in the unit may jump. If any character is jumped, the unit gains a hunker, which links into, we'll talk about their innate abilities as we go. So whilst this unit has got 1 or more hunker tokens, characters in this unit adds 1 die to the defense roll against ranged attacks. So that 1 hunker with cover that would give them 1 dice is then becoming a 2nd dice as well, which is very nice and potentially going to keep them alive for a little bit longer. They've then got coordinated fire. So coordinated fire is an ability we've seen on the 501st clones, the 212 clones, and I think the B1s have got a coordinated fire. But when a character in another allied Dathomirian unit makes an attack as part of a combat action before dice are rolled, this unit may use this ability. If the target character is within range 5 of a character in this unit, the target unit gains the exposed condition, which is very nice. You are stopping that unit from gaining their expertise for the attack. Could be very powerful into someone like a primary unit, or a character like an Obi-Wan that's they rely on that defensive expertise to turn your crits to hits and crits to failures and all sorts of stuff like that, which is very, very nice. And then the last ability here, Night Hunter, as a innate ability. When a character in this unit makes a ranged attack as part of a combat action, if it targets an enemy character that is engaged with another allied Dathomirian character, it adds 2 dice to its attack roll. So you've seen similar looking abilities on the Mandalorians and Mandalorian Super Commandos with them. If they're engaged with someone, you get some bonuses. This is very nice because you basically want a Dathomirian character like an Asajj Ventress to run up and swing some lightsabers and get engaged with someone, and then you've got the Nightsister Acolytes that kind of back her up from a bit further back, making those range attack, adding 2 dice to their attack rolls. And we'll see as we go down, we've then got their combat card. So they've got Shadow Hunters is the name of their stance card here. They've got a ranged 5 range attack with 6 offensively, 5 defensively, and then 5 in melee engaged and 4 defensively there. And they've got a expertise of range, so 1 expertise is 1 hit, 2 to 3 becomes 2 hits, and 4 plus becomes crit hit. Defensively, not defensively, in melee, 1 to 3 damage and a hit. 4 plus is becoming crit hit damage as well. And if they are dealing damage and you've got Mother Talzin, obviously that life drain is going to kick in for them entirely and just kind of keep them alive a lot longer. And then their defensive expertise, Shifting Shadows, 1 to 2 becomes a block, 3 plus becomes a block and a reposition, which is quite nice. You want to get out of there, you are more than welcome to. And then we've got their combat tree, so 5 long again here. And we've got a damage and a pinned to start with, followed by a damage and a shove. And then we get this decision of damage and exposed, or a recover. Back up then into 2 damage and a jump, followed by 2 damage. So with their 6 range attack dice, +2 potentially from a Night Hunter. You could be rolling 8 dice, and you could get up to this 5th tier, and would deal in turn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage at max. But you're probably going to be wanting to keep them alive, definitely keep them out of harm's way, and just kind of secure those back objectives for you, whilst you send your big guns into claiming sort of middle objectives and doing a bit more of the fighting. Yeah, really like the Shadow Hunters as well. I think they've got some very nice abilities on here. We're giving, you know, a free jump if they're jumping and getting hunkers, which is then boosting their defensive expertise and their ability to stay alive a bit more. And you know that they're just going to be, you know, I'm probably going to play them about range 3 behind Adventurous, so that they can just attack whoever Venturous is attacking and get this Night Hunter out of the way. And that is a look at the Nightsisters of Dathomir and Mother Talzin. So it is not long to go now until they are released. 14th of July, I believe, is the date, which is just over 3 weeks away, or just under 3 weeks away. So yeah, very excited to see what these are going to bring. Very excited to get Savage. Obviously, we haven't seen Savage on here yet, so that will be interesting to see what he brings to the table. But that is the first look at the Mother Talzin and Nightsister Acolytes. Thank you very much. If you're still around, please do like and subscribe to the channel, and follow on for all the other Star Wars Shatterpoint content we're going to bring. And we'll see you in the next one.